Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm Alexandra, and on this platform, I'm going to be discussing some films here. So today we're going to be talking about the film Ready Player One. It was released in 2018, and it was directed by Steven Spielberg. So Ready Player One is about Wade Watts and his friends who are on a quest in the Oasis, which is basically a virtual reality setting that the whole world participates in. And their goal is to gather keys for a contest that was created by James Holliday, who was a co-creator of the Oasis. And if they win and find all of the keys, then they get total control of the Oasis, and they get James Holliday's fortune of $500 billion. During this whole quest to find these keys and get the fortune and control of the Oasis, is a corporation that is trying to also find the keys and get control of the Oasis. So Ready Player One opens with a view of a desolate and run-down area called the Stacks in the world, where everybody lives on top of each other in trailer-like buildings. And then we quickly switch to a view of the Oasis, and it seems like a paradise. Everything is very smooth and very picturesque. And it's a place where you can do anything, you can go anywhere, you can be anybody you want to be, especially if the real world doesn't suit what you want to be or where you want to go. And this really allows fiction to influence reality and emotions in reality. It causes the real life to feel like a depression because they're not working on the real life. All of their energy is going into the Oasis, this thing that isn't really real. And it makes for the real world to become dysfunctional and not a happy place. So in this film, we have a main group of characters. Wade Watts, who is Parzival in the Oasis. We have Samantha, who is Artemis in the Oasis. Wade Watts's main sidekick is called H, who is Helen in real life. And then there's also Sho and Daito in the Oasis, who are also his friends. For the most part, the acting was okay. It wasn't the best I've ever seen, but it also wasn't the worst I've ever seen. Most of the characters seemed authentic in a 2D type of way for some of the film. They weren't as developed. They didn't have as much heart as some of Spielberg's other movies. Towards the end of this film, when Wade was meeting his friends in real life, the meetings were a little awkward. It was dramatic. I think Spielberg wanted them to be dramatic, but I think it came off a little cheesy to me because it was just so dramatic, and they were supposed to be in the thick of things and danger. They should be like, oh hey, yeah, you're that person, let's go, we gotta leave, we're in danger, that type of thing. And I don't think that was conveyed as well as it could have been. Wade and Samantha's relationship, they are the ones that are supposed to be romantic towards each other. It was very awkward and a little uncomfortable. I think I didn't personally like watching that, but I think that is probably good for the movie because it's the first love type of thing. They're teenagers. This is the first time they're actually having a relationship. I also had a problem with Sorrento, who is the villain and the head of the IOI. He isn't scary, and for some of it, he isn't seriously terrifying like he should be. And I guess I understand this because children are going to watch this film, and you can't really have a truly terrifying villain if children are going to watch this. But Sorrento is fighting children. He's fighting teenagers. And Sorrento is an adult. So I think Sorrento should be able to be more of a threat to Wade and Samantha than he is in the film. And especially the ending of the film really it didn't work for me because Sorrento goes and he takes a gun with him to go find Wade and the posse to kill them. And in the end, he doesn't do that. And it's just not satisfying. He doesn't really give an explanation. It's not good. Plus, Sorrento has a hitman called Iroke, and he tries to be funny throughout the film, but it feels like he's written to be funny. But all of his jokes miss, except for this one when he's talking to Sorrento. It's towards the beginning of the film, and he's like, "You never lick. You always bite straight to the Tootsie Center." And that was a really good line. I really enjoyed that line. But that's the only line I enjoyed from this character at all. So overall, the pacing was okay. I just thought it was a little fast in some places. We needed some more quiet, more introspective moments that we didn't necessarily get. One of those moments was when Sorrento murdered Wade's aunt and her boyfriend, and there was no time for Wade to grieve. I understand that this is supposed to be a fast-paced movie, but there was no time. It was like on to the next. It didn't even seem like he was sad, and I guess he may not have had enough time to actually truly think about it, but I think it would have been more beneficial if we would have had that grieving time instead of focusing on the relationship between Wade and Samantha. Also, throughout the whole movie, the action scenes happen back to back to back. And I understand if they happen at the end because that's like leading up to the finale, but there was no time for breathing. I loved the special effects so much. Everything was smooth. Everything was so picturesque. The music was spot on. I think there were a couple moments where the music was cheesy, but for the most part, the music was really good. I think if you're someone who is bothered by 80s music and 80s references, and they really grate on you, especially if they're like very frequent, then you probably won't like most of the music and the references in this film. Overall, the message of this film is that real life is just as important as fantasy, that living in fantasy hinders other important moments in people's lives. So to end this video, the pros for Ready Player One were the special effects and the music, the premise, and the overall messages and main themes in this film. The cons were the awkward character interactions and bad villains, and the pacing. Overall, I would give this film a 3 out of 5 stars. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day.